All right, let's continue on with a few statistics here. So, stats on illiteracy in Canada. So, this is just from that website that was on the previous slide. I just kind of pulled a few for us to look at specifically here today. So, this is a description for literacy proficiency levels of 25 to 64-year-olds in 2012. And it's just a little description here. Canadians have higher levels of educational attainment, performed better than their less educated counterparts in literacy and numeracy. Among those who had not received a high school diploma, almost none performed at the highest level of these competencies. Okay, so let's look here. So level one, again, we're going back to that level one here. So this section of understanding of literacy. So in Nunavut, you have almost 50% of your population is at level one or below. As we go through, so you can look at Northwest Territories, Quebec, Saskatchewan, let's find Alberta. So we have about, say, like 17% of our population in Alberta are functioning at a level one or below literacy rate. So that's tricky. That's tricky. Okay, so then level two, look at Nunavut. So you have 80% of the population is working at a level two or below. Again, you can look through all of the provinces. Let's get to Alberta. So we're looking at about that 47% of the population is again working at these levels of basic literacy skills. Okay, level three, that's where we get up into the top here. So we're looking at level three there. So for where are we at? Alberta is about 80% is level three and below, and then ultimately 4 and 5 make up a fairly small percentage. So again, if we looked at Alberta, we're looking at about 20% of our population is actually functioning at a level 4 and 5, where you are actually starting to need to get into very complex ideas and being able to actually analyze material. So remember our whole critical literacy lens, 20% can really understand that. Kind of interesting. Okay, and let's look at how employment and literacy and ultimately numeracy skills, this looks at numeracy skills as well in different graphs. I just pulled the literacy. So let's look at percentage of 25 to 64-year-olds who were employed by literacy proficiency level, again, 2012. So again, this is all levels. Here is just the employment rate. And then let's look at level 4 and 5. So for people who have level 4 and 5 literacy, this is how many of those are actually employed. If you have level 1, this is how many of level 1 people are employed. So again, where's Alberta? Alberta here. So our level 1 and below, we have about 72% are employed, which means there's an 18% unemployment rate in people who have level 1 or below in literacy rates. Whereas if we look at if you have a level 4 or 5 literacy rate, let's say that's 94, you only have a 6% unemployment rate. So it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Okay. So, there's the StatsCan one. I think we saw that before, but here it is again. And now, another video for you to look at for stats on illiteracy in Canada. So what does illiteracy actually look like in Canada? We looked at the states. What does it look like on a daily basis? And this is a CTV report on illiteracy. So again, stop me, and go have a look at this particular news report. Is it not interesting? I think it's sort of fascinating. Okay, let's pull it tight. Let's pull it tight to illiteracy in medicine hat. So if we did not have an illiteracy problem here in medicine hat, we probably wouldn't need all of these services. So we have SAMIS immigration, which is serving a different population. It's serving the new immigrants to Canada. So that's a little bit of a different but still, we are dealing, a lot of our immigrant families are getting to that level one, or sorry, immigrant members of their family are getting to that level two, maybe three. Okay, we have Learn, we have Lifelong Education and Resource Network, we have family literacy nights, we have family literacy programs. So literacy issues are alive and well. You know, we can say, oh, it's the world, oh, it's the US, oh, it's not us. It's us. It's us. We have to be dealing with illiteracy right here in medicine hat. Okay, so whoa, my mouse is going crazy. So even 85% accuracy in literacy. So if you're reading something and you are comprehending only 85%, it's not enough. So let me read this, and this is understanding and being able to read 85% of the text. Tell me what the story's about. Tony guided them down to the expecting some. Maddie was surprised to see and even some smaller flowers. Come on, I know where is, said Tony. Her way through the of dishes. What do you want me to get? She asked. Maybe a pair of and a cup will help. How much food did she give you? Do you have any idea what's going on? It's very, very confusing, even at 85% accuracy. So I think you're getting the idea that literacy is kind of a driving force behind our society, let alone our education system, but our society. Okay, the gap will only widen. As we go through the 21st century, literacy expectations will expand to information literacy, where you have to manage, you have to analyze, you have to synthesize multiple streams of simultaneous information. Number two, critical literacy. Again, where you have to critique, you have to analyze and evaluate multimedia texts and just a massive amount of information. Cross-cultural awareness. This is where we're talking about internationally, where we're wanting to build cross-cultural connections and be able to function in a society that's becoming more and more global and more complicated. We have number four, cultural and social literacy. Again, there's that idea that we need to be able to function in our own culture, but we also have to obviously be socially aware of everyone else that is part of our mosaic. And technological literacy, again, proficiency and fluency with tools of technology. Even think about working in a fast food restaurant. Think about how much technology there is to be dealing with and how many instructions that there are to deal with. Okay, unfortunately, the gap will widen between illiterate and literate and economics if this basic literacy is not intact. Okay, so here we go. How will an illiterate person navigate through changes in technology? Technology is here to stay. We are a technological society. So we have over 80% of kindergartners use computers and over 50% of children under 9 use the internet. That probably has gone up. These are old stats. At least 61 total virtual colleges, university currently educate students in the US. Probably that's way more now that it's COVID time, but in non-COVID time. And Google searches per day. I want you to go on this link because it shows you how many Google searches per day are going on. And I think you'll be amazed at the numbers. And think about somebody who is illiterate trying to navigate that. Aren't those numbers unbelievable? How fast it is going? Just how fast it's going. Okay, so if one does not have basic reading and writing skills, how will they navigate through our changing world? We're going to look at this in Collaborate. So have some ideas of how can people navigate without being literate. Okay, so let's look at how much is literacy costing. Sorry, how much is illiteracy costing? We need to look at this through the eyes of human capital theory. Okay, because I'm just going to go here. This theory is premised on the notion that education is an investment which produces income in the future. So instead of, okay, here's the rant for the day, instead of seeing education as a burden and something that we need to cut, we need to look at it as an investment because it produces income in the future, because those who are higher in literacy rates, which hopefully equates to education, then they get better paying jobs, they pay more taxes, they can buy a house, they can be a member of society, they won't get into crime, they won't miss paying their taxes, all those sorts of things. Okay, so that's my little rant for the day. Increasing literacy will benefit individuals and society through increasing employment, economic growth, and social equity. Again, education has a tangible dollar amount towards economic growth. It's not just a nice thing, it actually has a tangible dollar amount towards economic growth. Okay, so let's look at the cost of illiteracy in economic terms. So illiterate people earn 30 to 42% less than their literate counterparts. Their income basically stays the same throughout their lifetime. So if they're making minimum wage, they will probably stay at a minimum wage job throughout their lifetime, and they are less likely to obtain a job that can keep them out of poverty. There are a lot of illiterate people that are on the poverty line or below. And again, here's just some kind of mind-boggling numbers around the impact of illiteracy. So there's 80. I'm gonna get my pencil here. 80. This is in the U.S. again. $80 billion is lost in worker productivity because of low literacy. 106 to 236 billion is on the cost of low health literacy each year. So people who don't, like our friends who didn't go to the doctor or were too embarrassed, and so then they have health issues, that's where that number comes from. And 225 billion in unemployment benefits, lost taxes, and crime. Kind of unbelievable numbers, aren't they? This is one of my favorites. Every dollar invested in adult literacy yields a $7.14 in return. If you're an economist, that's an amazing return, right? So when we invest in education and we invest in literacy, there's an absolute dollar amount that goes with educating your populace so that they are not in that illiterate zone. Okay, so what we're going to do in Collaborate is I want you to, what is your experience with illiteracy? Do you have anyone in your family that may be illiterate, or maybe somebody that you know, or somebody that you went maybe to school with that you go, wait, now that I've seen some of those reports on adults who hid their inability to read, that was actually my buddy kind of thing. So think about that. And what was the impact on the illiterate person? Right? So how is their life affected by not being literate? So we're going to talk about this in Collaborate. But just so it's kind of a sad lecture. I don't want to leave you with a sad lecture. So these are little stories about turning around illiteracy. So there's a CBS story, so have a little watch through that. And have this one called Overcoming Illiteracy. And make sure you know what the young man says to the older man at the end, because that's kind of pivotal to the whole story. So those are the nice turning around illiteracy stories. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. We will see you soon.